Right. So I promise this is two cups of graham cracker crumbs. Actually, this is 1 cup. The other cup's already in there. Lump. And this allows for some of the substance of the bottom crust. Anyone who's eaten a Nanaimo bar knows what I'm talking about. Anyone who hasn't can't really hope to imagine. Sorry. So I just stir it round and round and round until it looks like this. And the next bits are extremely easy, but they will be going into the pantry. Because the next thing this recipe calls for is shredded coconut and chopped pecans. And then what you do with this afterwards is you press it into a pre-greased 9-inch square baking pan. Forget what that is in centimeters. Hang on. 22 centimeter baking pan. Roughly. Right. Now, we want the coconuts and we want a couple of pecans chopped up nicely. And I remember this bag being exactly 2 recipes of Nanaimo bars, so I could just pour it straight in there, but I want to be very, very exact. Because, well, actually I could do with less pecans than we even have. That coarsely chopped, that chop is about good enough. Maybe a bit thinner. And don't worry, I've washed my hands. I'm not gonna make dirty Nanaimo bars. I've been handling formic acid all morning. Stupid ant bites. In there. And now for the coconuts. Again, Blur brand coconut because I object to name brands and they don't pay me to mention them. Oh, I don't have a blurring mechanism, so just pretend you're not seeing the thing on the bag. Maybe I should have cut a bigger hole in the bag. What do you think? Preferably sweetened, but definitely shredded. Looking something like this in individual pieces.
Never force it. Just use a bigger hammer.
Well, I don't have any hammers. And actually using a bigger hammer qualifies as forcing it if you think about it. I thought it was mechanical engineer. Great. What are you doing with it? I thought theirs was use a bigger drill. Never mind. Right, then in with the pecans, and then stir until it's more or less incorporated evenly. And the nice thing about this is once it's all cooked, it comes off the bottom of the pan very easily and barely needs any cleaning. See, look at that. Clear pot. It's rather cool, actually. Stir it round and round and round and round and round. Because when you're mixing together solid ingredients, it's very, very, very tricky to get an even mixture. But that's as close as we're going to get. And now all I have to do is pack it into the bottom of the pan. Ooh. Right, so in here, don't want it to spill over the countertop because this thing just got cleaned today. Luckily, because it's solid and dry, you can just sort of spread it around and it won't stick together and be harder to spread as it gets on. That's what the chocolate was like, and the cream in the middle. The cream in the middle is going to be fun. And that's where I'll make my first change to the recipe because I think vanilla extract in the middle is rather silly. Now we just go nice and even, especially the corners. The corners are tricky to pile into when you're pouring from a round vessel. Or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a physics student. Pound it down nice and tight because you don't want it falling apart when you eat it. Now, this part calls for being stuck in the fridge for an hour. That's the lovely part of Nanaimo bars, the part that always does it for me. The lovely cream filling. First thing you need to do is a quarter cup of butter, and then you cream it in a bowl. Preferably unsalted butter, this is what I'm using right now. Actually, it's sort of a quarter cup because I am dealing with the odds and ends out of a box. So, now, what we want to do is get one of these wooden stirring things and just mash it up nice so that it's all creamed together. Thankfully, it's been out of the fridge a bit long, so it's not like it's going to take a very long time with this business. You know it's cream when you really start to smell it, because the little bits of juice will start evaporating. Well, juice, cream, I don't know what it is, but any thoughts?
Well, butter melts.
Yeah, and then you sort of get the smell for that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, that's sort of dealt with. And it calls for no fewer than 2 cups of no name brand in particular powdered sugar. So we have this, then we just... This is tricky stuff to work with because it will absorb any moisture and go, bleh, I don't want to do anything now. So, pour it out, level it off with a knife, make sure it actually is a full cup. And I could probably use a bit more there. Right. Now, no need to show all the measuring because, well, it's not like watching paint dry at all, but it's equally tedious. So we pour it in with the butter to keep it company. And as you can see with that proportion, it's going to take a very weird time to get it incorporated. So I'm only starting with the first cup. As you can see, the powdered sugar is not incorporated into the butter in the least. That's because there's so much of it for so little butter. So, the next thing to do in this recipe is add a bit of cream. We'll start with 3 tablespoons and see if that does the trick. Because what we'll do is powdered sugar with all its surface area dissolves readily in almost any liquid. Now what you want to do is, once you get it all distributed for at least the first round of adding cream, you stir it up. Look, it's always starting to turn yellow and soak in. Now, stir it, and it should do something amusing. Notice it's not so much sticking to the sides of the bowl and going, I'm not getting stirred into. Alright. Then you want some pudding powder. Well, actually, you prefer custard mix, but can't find it down here. So some of this stuff, and you want 2 tablespoons of that. Oh, bugger. Tablespoon what? The reason being, there's a nice thickening agent in most pudding mixes that will allow this stuff to be about the consistency of peanut butter, which is what you want it when you spread it on top of the bottom layer. Maybe a bit less than peanut butter, but about that thick. Add that in and stir it some more. And then, this is something you have to do by feel more than anything else. You need instinct for this. You see, this is currently too thick. It's all balling up, but you want it like this right now so it will gather up the sugar. And then, to make it easier to spread, because try spreading that, good heavens, you add a bit more milk. Well, a bit more cream. Just go. I didn't even bother measuring that, but and see there, it does spread out with the spatula a bit, but it also will hold together on its own. And once this is ready for, once the bottom layer is ready for spreading it on, we'll spread it on.